Welcome back to the Wizard Shop. Today we got some updates on the beautiful maroon colored 308, and you can hear it's running, and this thing is almost complete. It is almost ready to go out the door. What is that? That one's running?
You okay, Wizard?
Oh man, yes. Man, don't freak me out like that. That's crazy. It's alive?
It's alive.
Wow. You got a raise. How about 2 of them? Man, that's amazing. I guess we're going to talk about 2 Ferraris today. This one's done and this one's alive. They're both alive. Let's go ahead and take a look around this one. As you can see, it's a little dusty. This is my 78 Ferrari 308 GTB. You got another car that you're going to see later down the road. This one is my Ferrari 308 GTB. And as you can hear, DanielSon got it running. Let's go back to the engine bay. So it does have a little belt squeal. It probably needs some adjustment on the alternator.
Yes.
But other than that, it's amazingly alive. These are the Borla TWM ITBs. This is the little cam that's for the throttle. And it has, what is it, Daniel? It's electromotive?
Yes, electromotive's Tech 3R ECU.
Tech 3R. I got that used on eBay, I think it is, because electromotive is going under, is what I understand. But it's a good unit. It works. There's a fuel pump. Is it right over here, Daniel?
Yes, all the way down.
That is a Porsche fuel pump off a Porsche 928. Just a Bosch standard fuel pump.
Yeah, they're easy to get, easy to replace, cheap.
And we have a pressure regulator here. What did you have it set at?
43.5.
43.5, okay. And then it has these injectors here that are, what were they called, 14?
They're EV14S's.
Yep. EV14S injectors.
Yeah, the S is for the size of the injector.
And we got them from, who was it?
Top End Performance.
A lot of these parts that you see here came from Top End Performance. We purchased from them. And it is working flawlessly. It works very well.
Also, the injectors are 28 pounds per hour, which could support about 300 horsepower, about 350.
Yeah, that's amazing. You can see the distributors are gone. We did away with those a while back, and it's got these coil packs here that runs the system. So it was fully carbureted when we first got it, but now it is fully fuel injected. Luckily, the stock air cleaner box will bolt up to these, and I'll probably start looking for one of those. We've done timing belt, water pump, and all kinds of the services on it. Everything's done as far as that's concerned. It's got some clutch work that needs to be done, which I knew that even when Freddie had this on Car Trek, it had some slipping clutch issues, but I knew that that wasn't a concern until we get this sorted out, decide is the engine any good. Now we know the engine is good. And it has an oil leak, was like one of these spark plug holes.
Yeah, I noticed one of the spark plug holes is leaking, and maybe a valve cover, but we'll see. I cleaned it all off. I just got to put some miles on it and see if it's actually really bad or if it can be just tightened up, tightened and call it a day. But we'll see.
Okay, why don't we go around in there and start it back up for us? Let's listen to the exhaust. Yes. Well, you just got back from a road test on this. Everything's fully warmed up and it revs so nicely. There's a whole lot of sensors and things we had to add to this. What are all they?
So we added an IAC for idle. We added a map sensor. We added a intake temperature sensor, a NOx sensor, coolant temperature sensor. Let's see, the crank position sensor as well, and a TPS sensor for the throttles. So the more inputs the ECU has, the better fueling it can supply for the injectors.
It seems to be running really well. It sounds really good. I love the intake noise that these ITBs have. It sounds amazing.
And the throttle response is amazing.
Yeah, it's just instant, just whoom, whoom, just like a Ferrari should be. If you notice when this thing was idling, it's just a tiny bit lumpy. That's not because something was done wrong here, but it's because, as Jared from Wrench Every Day confirmed, and also I confirmed when we had the valve covers off a long time ago, the cams are not stock, they are Iskandarian cams, and it had like 67Y or some number or something on it, and we never could figure out who did the grind or what kind of duration or anything that's got on it. I just know that it has Isky cams in this thing. So that's why it has a little bit lumpy idle, but it revs and it's just so smooth. It's amazing. I bet it has at least 250 horsepower, maybe more.
I think so.
It's probably more. You can see some blue painter's tape along there. It's holding a little wiring harness. It actually goes back to an air-fuel ratio sensor that Daniel has hooked up to a small gauge so he could set the air-fuel ratio and get everything dialed in just right.
Yeah, just temporary. I have a oxygen sensor on this side of the exhaust, but I decided to put one over there just to make sure that we're both balanced as we, tune the car and drive it, just to make sure they're balanced.
So we're getting there. We still have a little bit more work to go, but it's no longer a lump sitting somewhere in the corner of the shop. It is a running and driving 308 again, and the engine sounds amazing. Let's compare it to the 82 308 GTSI that's over there. We're going to notice a difference in the idle. So this one's been in the shop for a while, not as long as the 78, but this one's a little newer. You guys have seen it in a video before. It's an 82 Ferrari 308 GTSI. This one is fuel injected, although it is not fuel injected like that one is. This one has the Bosch Jetronic system on it. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. So as you can see, there's a different AC compressor there. DanielSon converted the whole car over to this new upgraded system. It's like the evaporator core, condenser, and everything, huh?
Yeah, except for the evaporator, just a condenser.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, and all new lines, which is nice.
Yeah, new lines. It uses the old fans up front for the condenser too, huh?
Yes.
So it's a much more efficient compressor. We have a new warm-up regulator right there to help with its warm-up cycle, and now that's working perfectly fine. You can see here's the Bosch Jetronic system here. This is the fuel injection. And the customer asked us to do the similar distributor delete to this car like we did to the 78. And you can see these two black cones. There's no longer distributors on this car. Those are gone. You can see it also has coil packs here, just like the 78 does, also electromotive. Everything is running very, very well on that. Right below Mrs. Wizard is brand new tires. These are the 220/55 R380s, which are kind of hard to find. I actually found them at Coker Tire. They're not cheap either, but they are brand new. Loan Upholstery actually just delivered these seats today, and Daniel installed them. The panels that were ripped or shredded got replaced with new panels. Where it was still good condition leather, that was left alone. They have been redone. They look brand new. They look very, very good. Also, the steering wheel had some cuts and tears in it that was pretty bad, and some fading, and that's been refinished as well. And it looks very, very nice. Daniel also replaced the door speakers on both sides with some upgraded kicker speakers that the customer provided. He also installed some upgraded window motors and also looped the cables and the rollers, everything inside the door, and it all works very well, very smooth, and a lot faster than it used to be as well. So the interior is done, the engine's running perfect. We got a few more road tests to do, but let's go ahead and start this thing up and listen to it. Really good. Let's listen to the exhaust. As you can hear, the idle is more smooth, more even. It's not lumpy like the 78 was. So what's different between a 78 GTB and an 82 GTSI 308? There is a lot of differences. One of the differences you can see right off the bat, there's a big black bumper. In here, no bumper. Now this one is custom. It's been changed years and years and years ago. Whatever bumper was here was deleted and this was added. But it would have been a little different than even this. But the headlights are pretty much the same. It has the same grills here and here. There's not a whole lot of changes here. Really, under the hood, there's a lot of things that are the same. Really, parts could swap and interchange under the front hood, or the front bonnet, I should say. The wheels on these cars look the same, but these are 380's. These are 15-inch. These are smaller. They both have brand new tires. Let's go ahead and look at the sides. We see here there's a mirror on the driver's side. Over there is nothing. On this one it has mirrors on both sides. And Daniel tells me that's more like of a European thing that just has a mirror on one side. Right behind the driver and passenger window is glass on this one, and also a small little grill. But you can see on this one, the grill is the entire window. It also has a targa top. This one is a solid roof, or a roof. Let's go ahead and look at the backs of the cars. One thing that's different on this car is it has the 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, which stick out a little bit further. I think it was in the early 80s, 79, 80, somewhere around there, it became mandatory for cars to have that. And when we get over to the 78, you'll see it looks differently. And you guys have commented, and Daniel also acknowledges that these are in the wrong locations. Maybe when this car was painted, they accidentally put them back. These orange ones, or the turn signal and the backup light, should be out here, and vice versa over there, and we will be doing that before the car leaves. We'll switch these around so they're correct. Let's go ahead and head on over to the 78. Here we can see that the tail lights and the turn signals are correct on this car. This is the way it should be on the 82, and it will be before it leaves, like I mentioned. You can also see the bumper is not sticking out this far. It's way much smaller. It's also painted. It's not a rubber kind of a bumper that's on the 82. This exhaust panel back here is a little different, and this exhaust is also different on this car. We're going to be changing the exhaust anyways, but there's lots of small differences that you really have to start looking close to pay attention to. If you just glanced at them both real fast, you would say, well, they're both the same, but they're not the same. There's lots of small little differences all throughout the car. You can find more differences on the interior, like the 82 has slow down lights. This one does not. Although Daniel did install a check engine light on this car. Let's take a look at the little check engine light. And as you can see, it does have a small check engine light in the center down below. And it works very well. It's actually already alerted us to a code with a voltage issue. It's too low a voltage because of our belt is squealing. So we know that it is working. It's doing its job. So a 78 Ferrari 308 with a check engine light. That is pretty neat. So these two have very similar body style. They're both a 308, so they look similar. There are, like I mentioned, there are some differences. And we're very happy, very thankful to Daniel to now we have our 308 alive again. And thank you guys for your patience. I told you it will run again someday. I wasn't lying. And it finally is alive again, thanks to his expertise. In fact, he did so well on this one is the reason why this one is here, because he wanted similar things done to his car. And you like working on the 308s, huh?
Yes, please bring more.
If you got 308s and you want some work done, please send them to Omega. We'll be happy to work on your 308. I like them too. They are really cool cars. We got some work to do yet on this one, the clutch, the alternator, the oil leak, and a few other things. And then we start driving it and actually finding out what other things it may need. Things that we don't know about because it never drove right to begin with. It actually came into this shop. It sounded like a Subaru Impreza. I was like, I got it from Freddie Tavares. I was like, Freddie, it doesn't sound right. Something's not right. And he's like, you know what? It's your car now. You deal with it. So, and I don't blame him. He sold it to me. I bought it that way. So it no longer sounds like a Subaru Impreza. You guys just heard it yourself. It sounds like a Ferrari finally. And at some point, we may take it to Wichita to get a dyno run done on it, maybe some final tuning to get it dialed in just perfect. But other than that, it's really, really close to being a running, driving car. It is a running car now. You can start it up and it runs. It runs perfect. Once it's up and running completely, like ready to take off into the sunset, we'll give you guys a tour, take you on a ride into 308, let you hear its wonderful, glorious exhaust. Thanks again to DanielSon for your hard work. Hopefully there's many more of these to come and we can keep doing more of these. It'd be wonderful. If you're curious what kind of tools that we use in the shop or he used to work on these, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.